Good morning. Welcome. My name is Philip Scudder. I am the Director of Marketing for HyLine Cruises, and I'd like to thank you all for being with us here this morning to take part in this very exciting announcement. Just a little bit of an outline of how we would like the morning to proceed. We will start off with statements from the partners. My brother David, Vice President of Operations with HyLine, will begin, and he'll be followed by Jim Gordon, President of CapeWind. We are very happy and honored to have a very respected group of people who would also like to give you their thoughts on the project and on the partnership as it's going to go forward, and we have them to speak as well. They'll be beginning with Congressman William Keating and Massachusetts Senator Dan Wolf. We also have from Governor Patrick's office the Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs, Richard Sullivan. Tom Cahere is here, the administrator of the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, and also we have the president of the Cape Cod Community College, Kathleen Schatzberg. After the remarks from everybody, we will have a short session of questions and answers. And I'll go over the ground rules for that at the appropriate time. So if there is nothing else, let's get started. David.
Thank you, Philip, and good to see everybody here. On behalf of HyLine Cruises, I want to thank you for coming here today to this historic press event announcing our decision to partner with Cape Wind in establishing the Cape Wind Eco-Tour and Visitor Center at HyLine Cruises in Hyannis, Massachusetts. 50 years ago, upon the election of President Kennedy, HyLine took the opportunity to start sightseeing cruises to the Kennedy compound, and HyLine Cruises as a company was born. HyLine has since become one of the largest employers in the town of Barnstable. We view today's announcement of HyLine's plans to establish a world-class eco-tour and visitor center at HyLine as an equally significant and exciting opportunity for the following reasons. 1, for the future growth of our company. 2, the continued revitalization of the Hyannis economy as the hub and gateway of Cape Cod and the islands. 3, the stimulation of the entire Cape and Islands regional tourist-based community. It is important to point out that from the time of the announcement of the Cape Wind project, HyLine knew that our company could have an opportunity to establish an eco-tour business as a result of the project. But we did have concerns about navigational issues and public safety relative to our passenger ferry operations. We expressed those concerns as an active stakeholder throughout the permitting process to Cape Wind, the Coast Guard, and the other regulatory agencies. In discussions over the past year, we have become confident that all of our navigational and public safety concerns could and would be met and mitigated by Cape Wind and the United States Coast Guard. This led us to further discussions with Cape Wind about the potential of the eco-tour industry on Cape Cod and the islands. Ecotourism is one of the fastest growing segments of the tourist industry globally, and we're confident that there will be tremendous economic development and job creation in the local community through this project. As a result of this fact, we explored the best way for our company, the Hyannis economy, and the Cape and Islands tourist-based economy to benefit from this project. These efforts resulted in the decision of HyLine to partner with Cape Wind as the exclusive, officially sanctioned and authorized eco-tour operator for the first offshore wind farm in the United States. We are excited about partnering with Cape Wind to establish a world-class facility here in Hyannis. We envision this world-class tourist attraction, the Cape Wind Eco-Tour and Visitor Center at HyLine Cruises, to consist of the following. 1, HyLine Eco-Tour sightseeing cruises. We will attempt to use green hybrid vessels, possibly built right here in Massachusetts, with narrated cruises by experts, college students, and others who are knowledgeable about the Cape Wind Farm, the environment, and the history of energy. These narrated cruises will include information on the historic windmills of Cape Cod, whale oil in Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and New Bedford, the use of fossil fuels, and the transition of Cape Cod and our nation to a clean energy economy and future through the Cape Wind project. 2, green shuttle buses. HyLine is working closely with the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority and others to tie into the intermodal transportation system to service our site. We also plan to supplement our existing on-site parking with green shuttle buses servicing an off-site parking lot at the CCRTA. 3, Visitor Educational Center. The Visitor Center will educate visitors of all ages, from school children to tourists and bus tours, about the history of the Cape Wind project and energy usage on Cape Cod, the United States, and the world. Specific emphasis will be placed on the history of energy on Cape Cod and the islands, ranging from the historic windmills to whale oil in Nantucket and the islands, to fossil fuels and the transition of Cape Cod and the nation to a clean energy economy through the Cape Wind project. HyLine and Cape Wind look forward to working with Cape Cod Community College to develop a curriculum of credit and non-credit courses that can be used to educate and train students and others in our community so they can obtain jobs both on the Eco-tour cruises and at the Visitor Center. It has been 50 years since HyLine began our business in the passenger ferry industry. We look forward to replicating our success with the creation of the Cape Wind Eco-tour and Visitor Center at HyLine Cruises. We are confident that this project will promote the continued growth of our company and stimulate economic development and jobs growth and creation in Hyannis, Cape Cod, the islands, and Massachusetts' tourist-based economy. The creation of this world-class tourist attraction will provide yet another great reason for people from all over Massachusetts, New England, the United States, and the world to visit the Cape and Islands. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jim Gordon, and I'm president of Cape Wind. And I'm delighted to be here to announce our partnership with HyLine Cruises and the Scudder family. It is a real thrill for us to be involved with a family that are business leaders, civically engaged, and have done a lot in powering the economy of this region. Now, David talked about the world-class tourism attraction that Cape Wind will produce, and it will. But it's more than just about drawing local citizens, people from Massachusetts, the nation, and around the globe to the wind farm. This will stand as a testament to how the people on Cape Cod and Massachusetts harness the wind to protect and preserve our environment, revitalize our economy, and help to create a healthier, more secure, and prosperous future. It will be an awe-inspiring experience to go into the wind farm and see man working with nature as opposed to against nature. But this will also reflect the ocean-based scientific community in Falmouth and New Bedford and around Cape Cod. It will reflect the engineers and the designers that helped create the first offshore wind farm in America, and how we've inspired other coastal communities across the United States to try to build their own wind farms as well. Every emphasis, as David pointed out, will be to create an experience that is sustainable. Not only the hybrid vessels, the green shuttle buses, but also a LEED certified visitor center. A visitor center that will also help drive tourists to other parts of Cape Cod. There will be interactive kiosks that will talk about how we used whale oil and help to lubricate machinery and light the lamps of the world right here on Cape Cod. It will also encourage people to learn more about it. Visit the Whaling Museum in Nantucket. Go to the old whaling church in Edgartown. This is our vision for this partnership. This is an important signal heralding the fact that this is a project that is really going to bring significant benefits to Cape Cod in ways beyond the green energy. in ways that are getting people to think about their energy choices. And believe me, over the last year, as we watched the incident in the Gulf Coast, as we watched the incident in the Big Branch mine in West Virginia, as we are now riveted to our television sets, looking across the Pacific in Fukushima, Japan, this is a experience that will get people to think about our energy choices, and more importantly, it will bring more visitors to the Cape and Islands to see how we helped lead the energy revolution in this nation. Thank you.
Congressman?
Thank you very much. As the last few days, weeks, and months have dramatically underscored the need for domestic energy and the need for renewable energy in this country is great. And while that's important, the number one issue confronting our country right now is jobs. And this is an opportunity to create new jobs. It's an opportunity right here in this region to expand jobs with the spin-off effects that will occur. I want to thank and congratulate the Scudder family and HyLine and Jim Gordon and Cape Wind for their entrepreneurship and their ingenuity in dealing with this. And I want to just comment on the fact that I think this could be a tremendous opportunity for our region in creation of jobs and helping our local economy. You know, if you look at this wonderful venue of Cape Cod, so rich in natural resources, so rich in its history, and so rich in its cultural and arts resources, that you realize the fact that this is already a tremendous tourist venue. It's already the focal point of the regional economy, not just in our region, not just in my district, but in the state. And you realize the opportunities that can spin off from this, and I think they're extraordinary, both at the local and regional area. Number one, if you look at Hyannis, which is truly a hub for the Cape, truly a gateway to the islands, it's a terrific location for this to occur in and build upon. I envision the ability commercially at the local level to have this serve as a platform where we can extend a lot of tourism beyond right here at the oceanfront, but further up in the community as well. I also realize from a tourist standpoint that this has the opportunity to expand the season even more, which will help local commerce greatly, I believe. It also, when you look at tourism, underscores another area. And these are issues I've dealt with for years in the greater Boston area, and I learn very strongly by looking at what happened there and how much revenues can be brought to the local level with such changes. If you can extend tourist stay another day even, you realize the enormous impact that has on the economy and on all the commercial establishments in this area. One additional stay can increase enormously those revenues, can produce more jobs, can make it more profitable for existing and expanding industries right here in this area. And this will do that. In fact, the opportunity that the people who already come here or are attracted here can say, I am going to extend this because I want to take part in the ecotourism that exists here. There'll be another gateway to a lot of the other arts and cultural advantages we have here, the history that is here in this area. I think it's extremely exciting. So what we have here is, I believe, more jobs spinning off from HyLine, more jobs spinning off from Cape Wind, and they're coming together here. But I also believe there'll be another spin-off effect that's going to revitalize and help our area as well. And I do say this in conclusion. I think that this is just the beginning. I think that you'll see other spin-off effects in other areas as a result of the efforts of these two businesses in the first place and the efforts of their coming together that'll occur in the future. And I'm excited to be a part of that as well. Thank you very much.
Senator?
Thanks, Bill. Good morning. Thank you for inviting me. We've had a long history, Jim and I, discussing this project. And as some of you know, this has been an interesting journey for me personally as well. Having been opposed to the project initially, going to Denmark, doing a lot of homework on it, trying to understand to the degree that I could the environmental issues that were involved, understanding that there is a balance in everything in life, as Jim pointed out. We are paying dearly for the way we produce energy today, and really needing to find alternatives and needing to forge a different future. I appreciate the entrepreneurial spirit with which this merger is coming together. But I think the fact that the public sector folks here outnumber the private sector folks here like 2 to 1 really sort of highlights what our challenge is here. And the challenge is that, yes, this is a good business opportunity, but this is also an opportunity for those of us in the public sector to make sure that we look at how we do energy, responsible, sustainable consumption, production, and distribution of energy, and understand what private-public partnership really means in this context. And what it means is we have a responsibility in the public sector, working with everybody, to determine and define what we want our energy future to look like, what has been wrong with how we've done it so far, and what can be so right about the way we do it in the future. And instead of being reactive, Jim, you proposed this project 11 years ago now? And we in the public sector have been reacting, and it has been a back and forth. I think this is an opportunity in the public sector for us to define a goal, and last year or so I've been talking about that being a 15-year goal, of responsible, sustainable energy neutrality in this region, which means we produce as much here as we use, which first and foremost starts with conservation and efficiency, reducing the amount that we use, and then having a sustainable, renewable plan that can be a beacon around the world. One of the neat things about this region that we live in is it's an opportunity for us to demonstrate, to educate the rest of the country and the rest of the world about how a region with a vision can seize an opportunity and lead the way. And I really appreciate that aspect of this. I think if we're going to do this right, we need to be open to show the world how it can be done right. But in the future, I also encourage and challenge those of us who are in the public sector now to make sure that the private sector is playing according to what we define as our vision for the future, not allowing that to be defined for us from the private sector. So I welcome the partnership. I have a lot of respect for, in another life, I think we've actually competed against each other. Yeah, a little bit. And certainly, Jim, your tenacity and persistence and leadership through this process has been absolutely remarkable. So thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Guess we'll all do our own introductions. My name is Rick Sullivan, and I'm the Secretary of Environment and Energy for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And it's a pleasure to be here today, and I just wanted to thank the Scudder family and Jim Gordon for allowing me to be part of this, and certainly to join my colleagues in the public sector in this exciting announcement. Back in January of 2009, Governor Patrick announced a goal to build 2,000 megawatts of wind energy by 2020. And he did so for a very good reason. Wind energy is one of the fastest growing sources of renewable energy in the world, and it will play a vital role in our efforts to battle climate change, protect our environment, and meet society's demand for electricity. As the Cape Wind developers know very well, Massachusetts has a significant wind energy resource, especially offshore. In fact, ISO New England, the region's electrical grid operator, has estimated that up to 25% of the state's electrical energy needs could be met by wind energy by the year 2020. Most of the wind energy needed to meet Governor Patrick's ambitious goal will come from offshore wind. And the Commonwealth has already positioned itself as the country's leader in the field of offshore wind, largely because the nation's first offshore wind development is poised to begin construction right here in Nantucket Sound. States now up and down the East Coast are competing for second place because Massachusetts will be first. Massachusetts will be the leader. But these other states do know what other economic development benefits can come from being first in the industry. The Commonwealth stands to benefit greatly from the construction of Cape Wind, and according to a third-party consultant, Global Insight, the project will create between 500 and 1,000 direct, indirect, and induced full-time jobs. For example, Mass Tank, a Middleborough company, has partnered with EEW of Germany to manufacture the monopile foundations and other structural steel components, and it's projected that they will create 300 jobs alone just from that operation. But now to today's announcement, a joint venture that promised to make Massachusetts, again, a first mover, the first state in the country to promote ecotourism around offshore wind power. We have said all along that being a leader in offshore wind would create a cascade of related economic development opportunities here in Massachusetts, and this project is certainly a hallmark of exactly what we've been talking about. I congratulate the Scudders and Jim Gordon and whoever else in this room got together to come up with the intriguing idea, one that I expect will not only rev up the region's economic engine, but provide additional tourism dollars to the Bay State overall as people travel far and wide to see exactly what's happening here in Massachusetts, the country's first offshore wind farm with the capacity to create an amount of clean, renewable energy equal to 3/4 of the needs of the people here in Cape Cod. I understand that HyLine has been, as outlined here today, will incorporate other green aspects to the ecotourism, and I stand ready as Secretary of the Environment as well to cooperate and help in those. And we are well on our way to meeting the governor's ambitious goal of 2,000 megawatts of wind energy due to several measures that have been taken to ensure that Massachusetts is a global leader in the fast-growing clean energy environment. Under the Patrick and Murray administration, wind energy has expanded tenfold here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and we are poised to celebrate the commissioning of the first onshore wind farm, 10-turbine, 15-megawatt farm in Berkshire Wind, which is in western Massachusetts. So the route to this goal is not easy, nor is it straightforward, but it is the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do for our environment and the right thing to do for our economy. The outside-the-box thinking that is embodied by this project here today is important as we work together for a clean energy future in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Thank you. And at this time, I'll bring Tom Cahir forward to speak. Oh, you're going to jump?
I'll take care. I'm going to jump
Okay.
in just for a second. We did have a late arrival, and I wanted to introduce, before Tom Cahir and President Schatzberg comes up to speak, I would like to introduce Tom Bernato. He is here from Representative Demetrius Atzlis' office, the local state rep. Tom?
Good morning. I wanted to first thank the Scudder family and all those that are attending, our elected officials, from our congressman to our senator, to Mr. Carr, to our secretary, to President Schatzberg. Rep. Atzlis is actually driving back from the Carolinas. He's showing colleges and picking them out for his older daughter. So he sends his regards. And he asked me to come here specifically for two reasons. One, he certainly has been a good friend and has known the Scudder family for many, many years, growing up across the street. But as a long-serving public servant, the worst thing you can do is to have lack of clarity and any confusion as to where you come from. And I failed even to say hi to Mr. Gordon. How are you? It's no secret that probably for 8 to 10 years that Rep. Atzlis has been, at the very least, not a cheerleader for the project. He always has had and does remain to have concerns about the project. That has not changed. But as a long-standing public servant, he believes in responsibility. And should a project transpire, even a project that a public servant has not euphorically endorsed over many years, and the opportunity to help his community and the Cape and Islands transpire, it would be irresponsible of him not to encourage a byproduct of something simply because you opposed the where it came from. Rep. Atzelis is responsible. He believes in job creation. He believes in supporting a long-standing industry, a maritime industry, a ferrying industry that has nearly equaled 100 years of service from a good family and a good community. If there are to be eco-tours, he believes they should be here. He reminded me in a phone call about the history of creating the interstate highway system. And when, not that he was around then, but when it was built, there was a lot of argument. Where would the money come from? We knew it was about jobs, but there was a very high level of concern about what that would do to our farm belt and what we all think of as that area you fly over from east to west. And would we forget to know the great states in between the coasts? And many local and state officials adamantly protested those roads being built. And they had their reasons. But once that was passed, and appropriations, and they actually began construction, the local officials had to come to grips with, were they going to continue to oppose the byproduct of jobs, equaling the selling of gravel from their quarries, and continue the hardship that was going on economically? Well, they didn't. Of course, they sold the gravel, and we have roads there. Rep. Atzelis is very clear on this. He does congratulate the opportunity for those that hope, if eco-tours are to exist, that they exist here to help the Cape and Islands, to help his community. And that's the message he wants to send. You deal with the cards you're dealt, you support and you stand by your community, and you are responsible. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Tom Cahir.
Thank you very much, Phil. My name's Tom Kerr, and I'm the administrator for the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, and I would certainly like to congratulate David and the HyLine Cruises and the family and Jim Gordon, Cape Wind, for this exciting initiative. I've watched with great interest the debate on Cape Wind over the last decade, and I think it really, today is such an exciting day to think of the Cape leading the charge, moving forward with something with an educational component and something that really will make a difference in our region. As a transit leader, transportation operations certainly is a major consumer of fossil fuels. So I've watched gas prices with great interest over the last, entire adult life, but over the last several months. And I think for us to be out front with progressive new thinking and an educational eco-tour component, it really not only creates jobs, but it shows that the leaders in our community are forward-thinking and doing things that are important. I've tried in my new capacity as the transportation leader here to bring the modes of transportation together. We've been meeting on a regular basis with all the transportation modes, the rail folks, the marine folks, the bike folks, bus folks, and we've met and had very good discussions about potential collaboration. And Dave Scudder attends all those meetings, and I've got about 10 or 12 acres of land over at the at my facility at the Hyannis Transportation Center, and we're developing a master plan to try to address a lot of the parking needs in the Hyannis and Barnstable area, and certainly HyLine Cruises and this initiative is something that is something of great consideration for us, and we hope that we can provide some assistance with the parking needs. As the administrator of the RTA, we've also focused very heavily on green initiatives, the green transit. We've got one of the less contentious, very successful wind turbines down on our South Dennis Operations Center, and we've got 20% biodiesel fleet that provide transportation for all the folks across Cape Cod. So I'm just pleased to be here to offer my sincere congratulations and support, and look forward to working closely with all involved to address outstanding issues and concerns, particularly as it relates to parking and transportation. Thank you.
Morning. I'm glad to be batting cleanup here and holding down the gender balance on this panel too, I noticed. When I heard about this magnificent project, and congratulations to Jim Gordon and the Scudder family. But when I heard about it last week, it was instantly obvious that Cape Cod Community College should play a role to train docents for the tours, staff and operations people for the visitors center. And it was thrilling to me to be invited to come here and help with the launch and make our partnership in this project clear. Perfectly obvious, I said. You know, it is a great day to see the obvious meet with reality. It was also obvious to me 11 years ago when CapeWind was proposed that this had tremendous economic and job potential for the region, and that we would see ancillary businesses spin off that would provide jobs for which the college could provide training. And it's just great to see the first one of those. And I'll end by saying we also have entrepreneurship curriculum at the college, and I am sure that some of the students are going to dream up new businesses. This is just the beginning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. I'd like to thank everyone who was here and helped us out with this announcement, and would like to open this up for a very short question and answer session. Just a couple of ground rules before we get started. This will be open to press questions only. And if you would please stand when you're recognized, give your name and your affiliation, and we will be directing the questions to whoever's best to answer. Start here.
Hi, I'm Sean Corcoran from Cape and Islands NPR station. Could we get some information on the time frames that we're looking at in terms of when cruises might begin, what the most recent updates on construction, and also maybe a little update on how you're doing selling your power?
Well, as you know, there's been some significant milestones lately on the Cape Wind project, including signing the first offshore wind lease in the history of the United States with Secretary of Interior Ken Salazar. We've also executed a power purchase agreement with National Grid. We went through a rigorous hearing period at the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities, which went about 5 months, and the Massachusetts Department of Utilities found that the National Grid contract was necessary and in the public interest. So right now, we're hoping to close the financing of this project sometime near the end of the year, and we're hopeful that we can start construction sometime at the end of the year, first quarter of next year. The Eco-toours will obviously be dependent on the schedule of that, but the Scudder family and Cape Wind have a lot of work and details that we're going to be working out over that period of time, which will give us the opportunity to create this world-class tourism and eco-tour operation.
Just to speak a little bit on the eco-tour aspects, we have several properties that we are controlling and own on Ocean Street. We're looking at those properties for the development of this visitors center. We have adequate dock space that we already have using for our other services, and it would tie in very appropriately with eco-tours, the timing of which would again have to do with the construction site and permitting and developing the properties as well. Here.
Ed Maroney from the Barnstable Patriot newspaper. Could it may be premature to ask, but could both of you, or all three of you, say a little about the financial arrangements? Who is actually paying for the visitor center? Would it be Cape Wind, or who would be paying for the new boat, that sort of thing?
We have, at this time, a letter of understanding, more or less an agreement to agree. And there are no details as to the financials or how this will be laid out going into the project beyond that.
Phil, can I ask Dave a question, please?
Sure.
Bill Shields, Channel 4. Dave, are you concerned at all? Oh, excuse me. You concerned at all about, after long opposition to the Cape Wind project, that now there's turnaround that appear to be just a way of making a buck? Or are you convinced that this will be the right project for the area?
We are convinced that this will be the right project for the area. Certainly, anything new and unknown, there was some trepidation starting out, particularly relative to our ferry operation. Over the years, and particularly when we started into discussions with Mr. Gordon, we have developed a level of comfortableness with their commitment to mitigate any and all issues that we had with public safety. And of course, the United States Coast Guard, their mandate, part of their mandate is public safety. So, you know, we didn't go into this willy-nilly. We spent a lot of time and anguish looking at the project, looking at where we could fit in, and looking at our ferry operations. And at the end of the day, we are convinced that this is the right decision for us, the right decision for Hyannis, the right decision for Cape Cod, and the right decision for the energy economy in the United States moving forward. So yes, it was a tough decision, but we're confident with Cape Wind, we're confident with the project, and we're excited about moving forward.
Senator Wolf had touched on this during his remarks, but I'd be interested to hear some more elaboration. Not that Wendy Northcross needs to be here to put her stamp of approval on it, but there is sort of not a lot of representation, it seems to me, from the Cape Chamber and other business folks. So I was interested to find out, considering that there's been some pockets of resistance from business people and their concern about how Cape Wind would affect tourism on the Cape. Can you talk a little bit about making some inroads that way, and whether or not you think that's important to, you know, to get other sectors of the business community involved?
I'd like to speak to that. My name is Marty Riley. I'm the Director of Government Relations and Business Development for HyLine Cruises. This announcement was made very confidentially. We had a meeting with several business and political leaders over the past couple of weeks. And I think one of the reasons why Wendy's not here today is that she was on vacation. She was lucky enough to be on vacation, and she just got back last evening. And for that reason, we didn't have a chance to fully brief her on this project. But we think, as David has said, that there's tremendous economic development benefits to be derived from this project for not only HyLine as a company, but Hyannis as the hub and capital of Cape Cod and the gateway to the islands, and our entire regional-based tourist economy. I think it's also important to point out to everybody here today that HyLine's navigational concerns have been met. There are still other concerns that people do have in this community, and the future of the project resides with the courts. And if the courts uphold the approvals, then something positive has to happen for the Hyannis economy as the hub and capital of the Cape. It's the transportation center, it's the healthcare center, it's the tourist center, it's the educational center, as I say, and it's the gateway to the islands. And this project is symbolic of a positive thing for the town of Hyannis as the capital of the Cape in terms of what it's going to do, creating jobs, promoting more hotel stays, more restaurant stays, and tourism generally, and ancillary benefits that will be derived from this project. And beyond that, the entire Cape Cod economy. And it will be yet another reason, as the Scudders have said today, to bring additional visitors to Cape Cod and the islands, not only from Massachusetts, but New England, the U.S., and internationally. So I think that's got to be made crystal clear to the people. You can't just sit on the sidelines, because if this does happen, there's going to be a real positive benefit, not only for this company, but this community and the entire Cape and Islands economy. Thank you.
I want to thank you very much for coming over with us this morning, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Our guys are working on getting that.
Yeah, we got a gazillion things. I know.